Royalton police officer who raised a red flag about the arrest of a former deputy chief is out of a job. He's accused of leaking records that alerted the public about what was happening. It's a story we've been following since last year. Everywhere at 5, Aria Janelle gives us the latest update.
Howdy.
You're watching former North Royalton police officer Spencer Lowe pull over former Orange County Deputy Chief Patrick O'Callahan for a DUI in October of last year. This traffic stop and what came after caused Lowe to lose his job Tuesday.
Orange, it's in
It's what?
It's Cuyahoga County.
During the stop, Lowe and other officers discovered 3 loaded firearms in the car, a felony in the state of Ohio. But the union representing North Royalton officers says the felony charges were later removed from Lowe's report. Lowe's attorney spoke with 19 News a week after the traffic stop.
He had found that the narrative that he had completed regarding the traffic stop and was approved by his sergeant had been changed to delete references to felony charges that were being brought.
According to the mayor, 2 internal investigations were done after Lowe spoke up about the changes. During that investigation, they found that Lowe shared confidential information regarding the case. That same information was found in the local media. The mayor has now fired Lowe because of it. Lowe isn't the only one that was punished after this investigation. The sergeant that looked up that information, printed it off, and gave it to him has been demoted. As for the deputy who was pulled over and charged with OVI, he retired from Orange County, but now he's working at the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office. I asked the North Royalton city attorney if Lowe's firing could be seen as retaliation, but he's not responded. Lowe's lawyer says they're staying silent for now. In North Royalton, I'm Aria Janelle, 19 News.
Now you're